Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very anticipated episode of the Bills Roundtable. Maybe more so for the host. I'm not sure if you guys are feeling it, but there's a lot of interesting storylines surrounding our favorite team, as in updates on camp battles. Obviously, we are headed to Chicago for joint practice tomorrow, as well as a Sunday night football matchup against the starters in Caleb Williams, the brand new Ben Johnson offense. A lot to talk about. Kevin, how's life? Talk to me.
Doing well. I mean, look, James Cook deal got done. We don't have to talk about it anymore, which is the key part of that note. So I'm excited about that. It looks like a 3 for 10. I've actually broken it down even further, or 3-10 per year. I've broken it down further, Dan, and it looks like could be a 1 year this year and a next year. And if he doesn't produce, the Bills have a fair out early on based on what they guarantee, what they take, what they don't take. They take the option. There's a couple of things there. So I definitely think Brandon being put together a team-friendly deal, and now we can focus on football. So looking forward to talking about this team and this practice going to happen tomorrow.
The giant weight of the James Cook contract has been lifted off of all of our shoulders. We'll probably lead the show with that, but first we got to hear from my boy Z-Bot. What's up, man?
I'm feeling so great about that. You know what's so funny? It just hit me how long we have been talking about this. I was just kind of scrolling through one of my channels the other day. I wanted to see if like the thumbnails were all aligned or whatever. I'm weird with the aesthetics like that. So I was just kind of scrolling through and I realized how deep I was getting. It was like 5-6 months ago. And the title of some of the episodes were just, James Cook, 15 million ? It's been 5 or 6 months that we have been talking about this. So glad it's come to a resolution that resulted in Cook being on the team prior to the start of the season, well before the start of the season here. He's been great for the Buffalo Bills, especially since this offensive line has stepped up, allowing this offense to evolve to another level. So it was great. And I've also been enjoying the so far 2-part Puff series that is Hard Knocks. It's unlike any other Hard Knocks we've ever seen. It is essentially just, if you love the Buffalo Bills, pop the popcorn, put the footrest up and enjoy. That's what that's been. So feeling good. And I'm excited about Sunday night, by the way. That's a nationally broadcast preseason game. So looking forward to diving into that too.
It's nice. Now 2 preseason games in a row where we don't need to utilize NFL Plus. Right damn on national television.
By the way, we hopefully we get the film timely around this time.
Pain in the ass.
Come on.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So, Kev, so I'm not sure whether or not like you saw it on Slack, but like we had to do this crazy ass workaround in order to find it on NFL Pro. Shout out to our Ravens.
I saw some of it. Yeah, I saw some of what you were doing. I didn't realize that's nuts. Because I heard some people were it was really weird. I didn't know what was going on with it. I stopped looking.
So the only way that it was broken down per play was as if like you finicked a bit with the URL on NFL Pro. Like you like had to go ahead and switch the year to instead of 2025. You had to get rid of the weak slug. It worked, which is good. And I actually have a topic pertaining to what I saw like right on film. Maybe it's me just getting ahead of myself. But lo and behold, Z, I hope that we get the all 22 a bit earlier than normal. Jake, what's up, dude? Talk to me.
Well, it's good to be back on the roundtable here today. We got a lot to discuss. Obviously, the James Cook saga has come to an end, and you kind of got the vibe that something had to give one way or the other. It's good to have him back, and I'm ready to watch James Cook cooking up defenses, cooking up those touchdowns in 2025. Let James cook, and let's have a great show today ahead of Bills versus Bears.
Yes.
Dude, those little helmets, man. Yo, where do you get those, by the way?
I got these years ago, actually. I'm sure the NFL has to have them somewhere, like NFL Shop or something, you'd think.
Amazon action or something like that, like as a guy who likes making some TikToks every now and again, I could find a way to utilize those small little helmets, you know what I mean? And Z-Bot too. By the way, shout out to Z-Bot, really hopping on his TikTok game.
It's funny.
Big fan of your shit, bro.
Likewise, of course. It took me a while to get into the short game action. Now, of course, I'm all in on it. It is so funny, though, Jake, that you just showed those mini helmets because I just ordered them. And you're right what you just said, Dan. I have this idea that I was going to do with my game predictions because everybody does a game prediction. I was going to use the mini helmets to show my winner and my loser. So, Jake, you just stole my thunder. Thanks a lot, brother. Now Dan's going to get out ahead of me because he's always on it instantaneously. So forget I even brought it up. No, I'm just kidding.
That is your thing, Z-Bot. surprisingly enough, I am a man of integrity. So that's all you, my friend. Okay, I promise.
I'm just
T-Bot, you got a $250,000 on TikTok?
Yeah, so we used to run it, and we used to have a lifestyle brand, my wife and I, and we ended up rebranding it. So it's the sports page now, and I love it over there. It's fun because we do so much content, fellas, and then it hit me like, you got to repurpose this stuff. The amount of stuff that we do, you got to put it out there in different ways. So it's kind of great for that. With the YouTube Shorts now and Instagram, there's just a bunch of stuff you can get in on.
Yeah. So what I need to start doing, and something that's really been a pain in the ass, I am so bad about ripping the audio from my shows and uploading them onto Spotify. I am so fucking bad at that, dude.
Like a podcast, you mean the podcast?
Yeah, it's really just boiled down to laziness, right?
Well, you're doing when you do a show a day, it's like a lot. It's just one more thing you got to do,
Yeah. So, but of course, it is what it is. I do know, thanks to our interns, we're going to be having this show in its entirety on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, not touched by yours truly. However, I did kind of want to discuss the main topic, the topic that has been the topic all off season. James Cook finally ultimately ended up agreeing to a deal. Some interesting tidbits coming out of the post-contract signing press conference, where he let everybody know that he was planning on holding in as long as it took, with also reassuring everybody the reason he practiced at the beginning was because he wanted to show his teammates that he was all in, what have you. But I think we can agree, like Kevin alluded to earlier in the episode, not a bad deal when you look at it broken down, right? First off, we add a little bit of money to potential spend this year by decreasing his overall cap hit in this year by itself. Significant cap hit is not going to hit until 2027. And I started looking at some potential outs if necessary. If, for example, the Buffalo Bills think that he is starting to regress, say, for example, that maybe they wanted to ride with the young buck that they get in the draft in a couple of years, who knows? By 2028, looks like we could potentially trade him / release him for some pretty significant cap savings and limited dead cap, perhaps even 2027. Yeah. I mean, guys, listen, another masterclass from Brandon Bean. Thoughts on this, Jake? What do you got?
I'm happy to have James Cook back on this roster. I mean, I've been banging the drum a little bit about trying to get a deal done here for quite some time. I want to see James Cook in action on the field with the Buffalo Bills, because the Buffalo Bills, they're a better team when James Cook is on the field. And I don't think there's much denying that. Sure, they have Josh Allen at quarterback. They can replace James Cook, but it's not easy to replace that kind of production. You have a great offensive line. Utilizing James Cook to his full ability is a good thing. He got his money, and now the Buffalo Bills have him suited up, focused, and locked in on this season. No distractions moving forward, and I think that's a big thing. Big thing for James Cook, and it's a big thing for the Bills because there's been so much noise surrounding this whole situation. Now it's football, locked in on it, and that's it.
Yeah, locked in on it. And some further context, because I know that I was never really a proponent of looking into AAV too seriously, like some people are, and that's completely fine. But for those of you that were really worried about him getting anywhere close to the AAV of Saquon Barkley, I think that we can all, I suppose, rest easy, since he's looking at about $11.5 million average annual value, if that number means anything to you. So for the most part, sounds like it's a bit of the best of both worlds. C-Bot, thoughts?
Totally the best of both worlds. I said this on my show, the telltale sign of a great business is that both parties come to the table looking to get a contract done. They walk away and both don't feel like they overwhelmingly won the deal. And I feel like this is how both parties feel here. I genuinely believe that the Bills made out well in this, as did James Cook. James Cook, of course, getting the most guaranteed money a running back has gotten in an extension the last 5 years here. That was the key, I would imagine, for James Cook. And I have to think that's the reason why this took so long. The guaranteed money had to be the topic of debate between him and Bean. But the $30 million guaranteed, big for Cook. But then you look at that AAV, right? You know, a couple of months ago, when people were saying $12 million would be too much, it would be the absolute max I would go to. That was when we were looking at a market that did not have Saquon Barkley extended, Derrick Henry extended. And this was also a market that did not have Ashton Genty drafted yet with that much money guaranteed when he was drafted. And there's several players on the outside looking in at that $10 million mark or right at it that are really good running backs. As soon as Kyron Williams inks that $11 million deal with $23 million guaranteed, there was no way James Cook was going to get anything less than 12. It was inevitable. So for Brandon Beane to get him at 12, when I saw the Kyron Williams at 11, I thought that if Beane really did want to retain Cook, 13 or 14 might have been in the cards in order to get it done. He does get it done for $12 million per year. And you look at the numbers compared to Kyron Williams, and I think it was a fair evaluation. And I was hearing, talk about how the Bills should just step up to the plate and give Cook whatever he wants because they're in the Super Bowl window. I didn't agree with that because I thought that the Kyron Williams starting point was a really good baseline for Beane and Cook to work off of. He gave him more on the guaranteed and he gave him a bit more on the average annual value there. So I think walking away from this deal, both sides made out well. And this was the hardest deal that Brandon Beane has probably had to make in his 9 years as GM of the Buffalo Bills. And he's still able to get it done. I don't think Brandon Beane gets enough credit. I think a lot of people feel like, you luck into Josh Allen and the rest takes care of itself. But you look at this offseason here and the value in which he got some of their core players under contract for 6 guys, including Josh Allen on that extension. And you look around the league, and I know it feels commonplace now with the Bills to just do things well because of Beane, McDermott, Josh Allen. But you look at the Dallas Cowboys, you look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Brandon Beane put out a masterclass this offseason in terms of extending their core players. James Cook was the last piece, and he got it done. So as much as I'm happy for James Cook getting this contract, I'm as happy for Brandon Beane finding yet another way to get a guy to remain in Buffalo because he's done an extraordinary job at it.
Now, it's definitely not the sexiest way to win the offseason, but I think the Bills should be in the conversation. Like what they were able to do by retaining their own, it's very impressive. I mean, how many off seasons do we see a laundry list of players that all of us are convincing ourselves that we're going to have to make one sacrifice and let them walk or not extend that player, but somehow Brandon Beane again figures it out, and here we are. All the names that we wanted extended this offseason, all of them got extended, maybe with the exception of McGovern, but it's still early. I'm not going to doubt Brandon Beane. Kevin, thoughts on the contract? Go ahead.
Yeah, $637 million went out the door this offseason. I think it's got to be the most with extensions, not factoring. I mean, maybe even factoring in like new players, but it's got to be the most ever. I don't know that to be true, but it has to be very close if it's not the most. 637, and more importantly than the 637, I know it's weighted a lot by Josh Allen. 426, 400, so $500 million guaranteed by Terry Pagula. And I don't know if you guys how well you know the cap or how well it works. But for our listeners, when you guarantee money, it's not just on a paper. You have to escrow it to an account to be proven so that in case anything happens, that player you release the escrow if you happen to trade the player and the new team takes on the obligation. But until that happens, you escrow the entire dollars. That's $500 million, into an account. This offseason alone from Terry Pagula with a guaranteed upside of 637, which most likely you won't see the rest of it because you usually don't in the NFL. Usually worked out deal or cut. But that's how much money that they invested into this. Throw the Sabres away for just a second and Sabres lose money. Like they lose money. It's a business asset. At the end of the day, the Bills do not. They're very profitable. And Terry Pagula awards the fans and awards the team by saying, dude, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm close to the top half of owners in wealth. I'm going to kick back money into the team. It's nice to see. And you can't hate on the guy for basically giving his ownership, his GM and his coach an opportunity to do whatever they can to win the Super Bowl. And he's doing so because this is a different era. All of the studs have stayed. The Bills have no reason. All they were able to do is add draft choices and talent to this roster without losing anything but Mac Hollins. That's a pure benefit. I mean, the team finished a play away last year from the Super Bowl, and it will only be this roster right now is better. It is a better roster. It is a deeper roster. I thought they played pretty well against the Giants for a team that was getting after it in pass rush and were making calls to win the preseason so they didn't have to deal with the New York media. So ultimately, like the Bills have played really well. The James Cook deal, like, let's be honest, Brandon Beane does not get this contract signed if it doesn't behoove the Buffalo Bills. And it does. Like, this contract is very friendly. It does read as 11 and a half. Sure, by face value, by value, it does. But look at all the outs he has in there. Look at the guarantees today. Guaranteed at signing, going 15-2 at signing. Yes, there are some kickers that happen throughout the years, but 15-2 of the 20, half of it isn't even guaranteed yet. And the Bills will probably entertain a lot of that, I'm assuming, but they don't have to if something goes awry and he goes for 70 yards this year and is benched or, whatever crazy scenarios could happen. But it is a very beneficial deal there. You're not at the end and struggling a little bit like you were with the Von Miller deal. This deal is completely different. Brandon Beane does not get this deal signed in August if it does not severely benefit the Bills. And this deal severely benefits the Bills to the point where it's a 2-year deal if you want it to be. So that's all to me this year plus 2. You could even do this year plus 1 if you're really in trouble. But there's a lot of outs in this thing. And ultimately, you're already able to get out of it in 2027 and you save, $8 million. You trade the guy, you save even more. Like there's outs galore, and that's why the guaranteed money's high. Because if you trade it, you get rid of it. Look at that savings if you trade the player in a future year. It's ridiculous. 11.2 mil. I mean, there's so much savings everywhere if the guy gets traded. So the Bills know what they're doing. That's why I ultimately think I'll throw this out to end my segment is watch for Curtis Samuel to be traded. There's too many receivers they like. I don't think it's crazy that you don't need to do any extensions. You don't need to kick money down the road. You can still sign McGovern. You can still sign Osiris Torrance by trading Curtis Samuel. I'm telling you, it's the right move for the roster. Even if you still like the player and still think he could be good, I don't know. I don't, but he could. I still would trade him. Do a day 3 pick swap. It benefits the team way too much. 7 million savings this year, 7 million next year. You got to trade him. Like, I'm sorry, go with Shavers, roll with whoever, even KJ Hamler. Like, do whatever you need to do right now to get out of that, saving $7.3 million in savings this year. And that's not factoring the 8 million or 7 million next year you save in 2026. So gotta go. Like, you may still have hope for him. I don't know if Zebot or Jake, how you feel about it. As a player, I don't know where he's going to go, but with these extensions, like, you got everything locked up. It may be time to roll the dice on a Shavers or X player, whoever your X favorite player is here. Doesn't even really matter if you like Gosnell or you like whoever. It may be Chenault. They pick your guy, go get a guy at cuts, whatever it may be. Isaiah Bond is an interesting name, was just cleared of all charges right now.
Wasn't he right now?
Yep, just supposed to go per Adam Schefter, was supposed to go in day 2. Talked about in the second round was the Bills loved him. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I just think it's too much right now to allow Curtis Samuel to make this kind of money. We just got James Cook signed. Free up the money. Don't kick Deion Dawkins money down the road. Don't kick more money down the road, please. Like, I know Terry Bagul will pay for it, but please trade Curtis Samuel. I think it's the right move, even if you think he'll do good. And I know Zebad, I don't know how you feel about him as a player, but I think it makes too much sense. 14, 15 million saved.
It's not so much how I feel about him as a player, by the way. I'm just wondering, Kevin, do you think that they'd be able to find somebody willing to take on that $7.5 million in a trade? That's the only thing I worry.
For free and compensation, meaning they don't have to give the Bills anything? Yes, I still do. I still think that there's a team like the Raiders or others who are
the Raiders was probably my only
looking for a pop
or guess.
People will. That's how these guys get 1 for 10 every year. The 1 year, 10 million. These guys. And then guess what? You don't have to actually shell out any money up front to take the risk. Yes, you'll owe him base salary, but you will not owe him any money up front. You can get the player in the system. You can cut him for free after this year. I think there's still limited risk for a new team, but there's enough benefit for the Bills, especially as you got Cook signed. And now this really makes me think about it, kind of coupling off the Cook deal is this guy's got to go. Like, he's got to go. And the Bills are showcasing him to hopefully make him worth a late round pick swap.
Dude, you know what? I just can't get my mind off of that breaking news you just broke live on stream right now. And so Isaiah Bond. And so I know me and Zebot are just like in a stare down right now of who's going to be the first to make a TikTok video on this. But
we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, folks. I need to use the restroom. I need to make a video on this bad boy. That's interesting. That is interesting to me. Surprise, surprise. All right. No wrongdoing found, charges dropped. Okay. I'm sure all of us are very shocked with this. Would you be interested? Let's go around the table. Would you be interested to add that the speedster out of Texas, now that he appears to have all of his charges cleared? Jake?
Honestly, I don't see why not. If the price is right. I mean, if you're getting a player who has that caliber of production, sure, there might be a little controversy there, but I think the potential value for what he could bring to the team, it could be there. What do you guys? How are you feeling about this?
It's like Guy would first off be an undrafted free agent type contract.
So there's a cap, Dan. So there's a cap
Yeah.
on salary bonus you can give a UDFA as well. So that's where this gets interesting because he was technically, this isn't pre-draft, he was technically a UDFA. So that brings in the rules of engagement of you. They don't allow you to go crazy in UDFA for a reason. So that's interesting. I think he's going to be able to choose his selection, just like a baseball player when it gets goofy with like players coming from other countries. I think it's kind of the same in this case. Like he can only be signed to a certain amount. So he's going to pretty much be able to pick which location he goes to for the same dollar amount, I believe, very close to the same dollar amount, like marginal in each location. So this gets really interesting too, because teams have already spent their max dollars too on UDFA. He's going to have to take a minimum deal, like for sure.
It's funny because a Chiefs fan just came in here, and I was literally just about to say, I swear to God, if the Chiefs end up bringing this guy in, I'm going to crash out on stream. Z-Bot, thoughts, Isaiah Bond.
That's funny you say that. The first thought that came to my mind was the Chiefs. That would just make sense.
He's a Kansas City Chief. You're a Kansas City Chief. Congratulations. Fuck.
Then again, though, that team lives as rent-free in my head as anything. So that's probably why I consistently think about them when stuff like this happens. But I mean, I would imagine that every team would want to throw their hat into the ring on a guy like Bond who, was solid at Texas the only year he was there, played for Alabama the couple of years prior to that. But that Texas team was about as good as it gets in college football, and he was a pivotal part of that offense. So obviously he's going to be on a team this year and probably be, showcased to some degree just because I think he has the skill set to do it. But when I look at the Bills right now and we're talking about whether or not they're going to keep 5 or 6, I'm not sure if they would entertain adding somebody else to the mix. I mean, you could consider it, right? But I think that what we've seen up until this point, you feel confident in moving off of a Curtis Samuel, like Kevin is suggesting, because of what you've seen from the guys that are already in the building. And I wonder if a guy like Shavers, for instance, has earned the opportunity to at least be allowed to kind of be implemented into the offense to some extent. So, I also wonder too, if you already have guys that you're interested in showcasing, like Shavers or, Wilkerson could throw in the mix there, Hamler, whatever. I don't know if you would want to bring on something that might also come with a little bit of baggage if you're already feeling good about what you do have. So it's interesting nonetheless. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Bean is going to certainly look into it, but I wouldn't be, devastated if the Bills don't walk away. I would be pissed, however, if the Chiefs walk away, just because I'm always pissed with whatever they walk away, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent.
He is a Cleveland man. That's legit.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
dude, what did that take? 20 minutes?
According to ESPN Cleveland. According to ESPN Cleveland.
That makes so much sense.
The actual
honestly.
account, it's not the Adam Schefter with a 1 right in his name,
no,
right?
This
it's
is
not
verified.
like the Adam Scheffler.
This is the right sources. Correct sources.
Dude, listen, I'm sorry, but Cleveland just does it to themselves for like putting themselves up for all these jokes. Like
I think they're so entrenched they just don't care anymore.
So might as well just ink Justin Tucker while we're at it, right?
Yeah,
like,
they clearly just went
collect all of the pervs.
They must have been in on it. They were in on
it
it prior to the ruling for sure. There's no other way. It's already done. He already knows he's going there. They may have been involved and said, "Dude, we'll sign you. We're back behind you," and that's why he ended up. I got to imagine some form of that because and the possibility to be like receiver 2 there behind Jerry Jeudy.
Well, I just looked it up. There's a whole statement he released. So Kevin, you're spot on. This was clearly done. There's a whole letter that he wrote in regard to not only the charges being dropped, but joining the Cleveland Browns. So this certainly had to have already been in play. I mean, it's the first thing that'll pop up here, Dan. Yeah, it's right there. I mean, clearly this was done in advance.
First and foremost, dude, Isaiah Bond. Well, all right, guys. You know what? Like that dream of having him on the Buffalo Bills lasted for about 2 minutes. But
I'm glad we talked about it, though. What do you
Yeah,
remember about the Isaiah Bond and Buffalo era? What do you remember?
What do you
The
remember?
good news is, though,
And so it lasted about as long as the Antonio Brown era.
Yeah,
all
damn right it did.
Go ahead. Kev, what were you about to say?
I was just going to say the good news is the point still holds clear on the young receivers that Z-Bot was making a point even before he knew he was on the Browns was maybe they don't even need to go out of the building and interrupt anything because there have been some plays made on this receiver group that I like. I didn't like this unit going in a ton. I was down on Palmer. You guys know that. I was a little down on Elijah Moore. And, a couple guys that have always seemed to be good guys but never produced. But these guys have showed out. Palmer has exceeded expectation. Moore has been more where I've been thinking, but everybody else has exceeded expectations from Palmer to all the guys like KJ Hamler is making legit push for the roster. He's making plays. Chenault is making plays. Like at some point, I mean, you can roster. Chenault does everything. So, and Shavers looked like he was on the roster, like honestly. So at some point, I think you can afford moving on from Samuel. There's enough of these guys, and we each may like a different one, but I think there's enough of them that they like somebody. I really do.
Samuel, Shavers, and Chenault. So I think we're probably all on the same page, right? Does anybody on this panel think that Codrington still has a shot at being the kick returner this year? No.
I don't, but
yeah.
I could be wrong.
I'm pretty much on the train with Chenault myself.
Chenault's on the roster, in my opinion. I said, I tweeted it today, like, give me your hottest take who makes the roster. That's not like, Josh Allen. Like, tell me who makes this roster. And like, Chenault is the guy. He plays 4 phases of special teams. Bean has mentioned on many podcasts now, including Pat McAfee, that the special teams and the kick return is a thing now. No one's going to be kicking into the end zone. 35 is a big that 5 yards is huge, apparently. So they're not doing it anymore, guys. So I think Chenault got the first action at it, and he got a 2-point conversion, and he's playing gunner. He's blocking gunner. Like he's
he's on this 53. Like there's no
he's on the 53 outside of a major blunder to finish the season off, or the preseason off.
Yeah, he performed well in the preseason opener against the like at home there. That preseason opener, he performed well. Like you mentioned, in the red zone area, he was utilized with a 2-point conversion. He had a couple good kick returns. So I think that he's that Swiss Army knife, and he can contribute offensively, but really what you're looking for is more on special teams, that third phase of the game. And I think that he's a valuable asset for the Bills here.
And so I've often said as well, I think while Chenault was a massive disappointment, especially from where he was drafted, he's still a better wide receiver than Brandon Codrington as a cornerback as well. So I don't think Codrington's going to do enough to fit himself into that crowded corner room. Chenault, maybe a different conversation.
Kevin brought up an interesting point, by the way. We're not talking about this enough. That 35-yard line starting point it's going to take 20 yards to get into some kicker's field goal range now. I mean, it's going to take one decent pass to get into scoring range. These Bills scored 31 points per game last year. You're going to see, I think, maybe more inflated scores in terms of the margin of victory, because now when you're playing teams with a competent quarterback as opposed to not, this only really benefits teams like the Bills, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Lions, whatever, fill in the blank there. Yeah. It's almost going to be impossible to punt the ball now. You're essentially going to have to go 3 and out to punt the ball. I mean, I really don't know, unless you're going to field position battle all game long with punting and whatnot. I don't see how competent quarterback play isn't going to result in many punts, in many games that are going to be sub 24-point type games for these teams that feature elite quarterbacks. That 35-yard line, we're talking about a 15-yard jump here in just the last couple of years. 35-yard line, if you were to get the ball out at the 35, think about it like this, fellas. Back when it was at the 20, if the kicker were to kick the ball out of bounds, that's a 20-yard penalty that would get you at the 40. You're basically there now off the jump. And then, Kevin, you mentioned it as well. A lot of these kickers are going to be kicking it to the 15-yard line. There's going to be more kick returns than we've ever seen. It's a pivotal, crucial aspect of the team now, and I'm very much interested to see how that ends up impacting games this year.
So do you want to hear my take on that? I think that it's not going to change.
Really?
So with last year, like we saw the exact same thing with the 30, and teams just said, fuck it, we're still going to kick the touchback. I have a feeling it's going to be much of the same.
I think they're going to give Josh Allen and
that's the thing. That's
5
the
yards,
thing.
5 extra yards.
So depending on the QB you're playing, like maybe outside of like the top 5, but I still think the vast majority of the league, even including the Buffalo Bills, I think Bass, like 75% of his attempts are going to be touchbacks still.
Like, I think if you're playing the Saints, boot it out of the end zone. Who cares? But if you're playing Buffalo, I just don't know how you're giving Allen the ball at the 35.
Analytically, you can't give him another 5. 30 was like max. That was like literally already teetering on the max. To give him 5 is 1 first down and you're in trouble. Like,
and they only did the 30 experiment 1 year. It just goes to show you how much they want to alter this kick, how much they want to get rid of the injuries and not have it. And they also want it to be a play. Yeah, they want it to be
to
something
play.
that you mean. I mean, like, it's been known as the let me run to the bathroom real quick during the kickoff. You can't even do that anymore. It's back for sure.
Yeah. It's intriguing, man. And you know what? Like, we're on hot takes right now. And you know what? I was actually able to crack up some of the all 22 once it finally did get released, like Z-Bot was alluding to. I gotta ask you about something, guys. I have to ask you about something. I could be off base right now, but first off, thoughts on Jordan Hancock so far in training camp, so far in his first performance. I do understand he was running with the threes, for the vast majority of it, but was lined up as a safety for quite a bit of the game. Thoughts on Jordan Hancock? Because I just have this thing in my mind. We're all so concerned about the safety running side by side with Taylor Rapp, right? You have Cole Bishop. It's clear that McDermott is upset that he's spent the first 2 training camps of his career injured. Sounds like he's not very happy with his development. Hamlin, I'm not particularly sure that is like who they have in mind. I'm not particularly saying that Jordan Hancock is going to win out by week 1. But for some reason, man, I just have this gut feeling that if, for example, his number is ever called to fill in for somebody that's injured, I don't think he's ever giving up that position again. That's how high I am right on this kid filling in that role. Thoughts? Is that a crazy take? Go ahead.
I don't think it's crazy. Look at it's a perfect fit for McDermott. Look who starts on this defense. Right, Christian Benford, 185th overall pick, right? DeMar Hamlin got in significant time on this team, 212th overall pick. The amount of guys on that side of the ball, in the secondary especially, that are not within the top 100 picks, you're looking at Jordan Hancock, now a 5th-round pick, who can play both ways. It just seems like an ultimate McDermott guy. And now you got to factor in, too, McDermott's demeanor and overall approach to talking about Cole Bishop the other day. It just feels like that's not ready to go here. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be what they wanted to, not necessarily from a talent perspective, but because of the injuries. And it seemed like he kind of soft launching the other day of DeMar Hamlin being the starter once again. It kind of seemed like that's where he was going. Look at Jordan Hancock. That's a Swiss Army knife in the secondary that can be utilized in both spots, which is great. I think this is why they pursued him. But you mentioned it. Looked good in the first preseason game. I don't think it's a guy that McDermott's going to trot out there week 1, kind of like you alluded to, Dan. It's not necessarily in McDermott's bag to be going with rookies that early, especially in a pivotal spot like that. But could we see him being rotated in there? I don't see why not. It pains me that Cole Bishop doesn't seem to be ready to rock. I had high expectations for him this year, and I was excited about it. But this is what you look to from Bean in this draft, and this is why I've been so excited about it. The amount of assets utilized at revamping this D, not only to be impactful in the starting rotation, but to have the depth that they've sorely lacked over the last several years. This is a perfect example of that. And when you look at the utilization of guys that were never expected to be much, that wound up being exactly what they hoped they would be. I mean, look at all these extensions the Bills just made. I mean, a handful of them are guys that were overthought, and now they're going to be, into their second contract here with Buffalo. So it's a really interesting proposition you bring up, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities at all.
Because my thing is that I just think he is too good to be nothing but a second string kind of guy, or a Cam Lewis 2.0, a fit and play type thing for the rest of his time in Buffalo. I really think that he could be a starter on this team, specifically at the safety side of things. Kev, thoughts?
Dan, you stole my take. You stole it last time we talked.
I'm sorry, man.
My hot take was I had him starting at some point this year.
Oh, nice. We're on the same page.
Yeah, I got it on record on our show. So, but anyways, honestly,
I'm sorry,
you're good. Honestly, he did everything at a team that was really good in college and was very useful for them, and just kind of flew under the radar his entire tenure. And that when he even went to draft pundits, the dude then went and put up a 9.8 RAS. So it's not like he was flying under the radar on his bad athletic profile, or he's going to be better than expectations. You're talking about playing on a championship team. You're talking about playing with a 9.8 RAS with decent to good production. Like, I have no idea sometimes how we overthink the draft process, maybe because he's, only played 2 years there. Like, I don't really know, but a guy that played at Ohio State at a high level, it's not even like we have the excuse that he went to Cleveland State or something random. Like, you're talking about a dude that has put it up, has played big minutes. Like, he's no different than like an Osiris Torrance, in my opinion, a guy that, went in the second round that had a lot of production in college and just was overlooked because he was a guard and kind of fell into the mid to late second round. Like, you just didn't check enough high-end boxes with a huge name or something. He played at a huge school with production and Raz. Like, sometimes a draft, even to me, maybe to all you guys as content creators, makes no sense. Like, there is nothing that would have showed this guy should have been like a day 2, like round 2, round 3 prospect. I guess there's too many guys everyone gets high on, but you got all the boxes checked with him. He comes in and he's immediately good. That proves to me right then that he was clearly underdrafted. But like, ultimately he's going to take the role of like literally like a second round pick level. Like, there's a lot on like, maybe there was some film that was poor somewhere or something, because right now everything's checking the boxes. I got him starting, especially if Cole Bishop doesn't figure out. But guess what happens the next day, Dan? The only thing that may interrupt my cake is Cole Bishop comes back in the tackling dummy the next day. So honestly, like, I think that was just a little bit of shot at everybody that's kind of putzing around. They know they're on a championship team. No one wants to get hurt. I don't think any of these injuries are that severe, minus Shakir's high ankle should be ready, and obviously Max Harrison. I don't think anybody else is serious. And it was like, dude, you got to come back because you're going to lose your job to DeMar Hamlin again, bro. So you better like come play. And I think we see him as soon as tomorrow, guys. So I think it's Bishops. He's clearly running with Rap as the ones. I think that's who we're going to see. But Hancock is, man, what a player. He plays everything. He's versatile. He did that at Ohio State. He did everything there. Guy can play, and he had the combine to back it up. So not sure sometimes what we overthink as content creators and or NFL front offices.
He's
Dan,
gonna.
Can you go back to that last image on X?
Yeah, man, 110%. I think it was up here. Right here, bro.
Right there, yeah. So this Jordan Hancock image, you know what? I hate to do this.
No, I know where you're going. I know where you're going right now.
This edit right here, I don't know who posted it, but this comes from the Bills Bunker Instagram jersey number kickoff countdown. So just wanted to let you know that.
Oh,
and
what
they
a
cropped
bastard.
out the logo. That's crazy.
What a bastard.
The Bunch of Nuts podcast, apparently.
I think
the Bunch of Nuts podcast here. Check
that's a bunch of nuts right there.
It's a bunch
I think
of
Jordan
nuts
Hancock is an exciting player. I think what we saw from him in the preseason opener, we saw him have an interception. It got called back due to a flag. But I love the versatility that he has for this defense. And what if he does end up filling in at the safety position? The Bills have kind of been looking for those cornerstone pieces back there. Guys like Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, those guys were around for 7 years, almost a decade with the Buffalo Bills. So if you can have someone that can eventually grow into that role, I think that's what they were anticipating with Cole Bishop. But if this happens for Jordan Hancock, sky's the limit. And I want to see that potential come to fruition.
Jake, what I thought you were going to say there, and you just mentioned his name, at quick glance with the headband and that lighting, it looks like Micah Hyde. Yeah. I mean, that was where I thought you were going. You like look and look away. It looks just like him.
I feel like everybody has said that in like all mentions, like when his name is brought up. So like his shades of Micah Hyde. And I think it's pretty easy to make comparisons like that just because we were so familiar with what Micah did for this team, but it's still left to be seen. But he's probably my favorite, like so far from what I've seen on that all 22. I'm not sure if anybody else stood out to you guys, but I'm thinking Hancock was probably the most impressive.
Yeah, maybe from the rookie draft class. I'll tell you who stood out to me, though, just from quickness. I just loved what I saw in the limited reps from Joey Bosa. I really did. I just thought from an overall off-the-ball standpoint, dude looks healthy. I just hope to God he can remain healthy. But if there was one thing that stood out early, didn't get necessarily hands on the quarterback. He was in and around the quarterback every rep he had, though. That was the guy that, I mean, I've already been so excited about having him on the team. I just thought from an overall off-the-ball type look in that all 22, quick, which is I'm excited to see.
And so we like Deion Walker.
Yeah.
Kev?
I mean, I don't know how he got the 93 PFP rating, but
I know when he doesn't like someone. I know when he doesn't like somebody.
Yeah, we talked about that last time about the PFF score on Walker. Like, he played well. I'm not really sure what happened with that score, but good for him. Like, I like Deion Walker actually. I think he's going to be a productive player. And the Bills roster is upgraded on the D-line. We got to admit it, from Bosa to Deion Walker to Sanders, who has some good reps too. I mean, the D-line looks better, and that's what we've been asking for. But the D-line got there, and we saw struggles at the cornerback position, and that they need to play better. Like, we got to stop so focusing on the D-line in these conversations too. Not saying that anyone here is, but that we're focusing so much on the D-line. Like, the coverage has got to be good, like it was in Philly in the Super Bowl, because we're getting there in 2 seconds, and there's much proof of it. Even in the AFC Championship game, Mahomes got rid of the ball in the fastest of the year. It's 2.4, 2.3. I can't remember the exact stat, but it was the fastest of the year. You can't get there. So, ultimately, coverage has got to be consistent. It's got to be better. And that's really the one area the preseason game showed me, that some of the backup level corners, I was expecting a little bit more from Ingram, who I really like, to a couple of other players. Obviously, Dane Jackson struggled. But someone's film that really, really popped, Chase Lunt. He's playing all types of positions, bouncing in. He's with backups. He's with different quarterbacks. I didn't know if he would make the team when they first drafted him. Okay, looks like a right tackle. That's all he ever did. I don't really know where the fit is there. There's other tackles that are definitely going to make the rod. They love Grable, obviously Vandemark. I don't really know what they're going to do here. Dude plays everywhere and was really good. One of the best players in the preseason in general, by his film. Really good player. Could even escalate all the way up to key backup number 1. So he's someone that I went from fringe roster to lock. We'll see if he keeps it up, obviously. But
one's a lock.
Close. He's right.
Ooh.
I don't think the Bills, not with that film, the Bills are not letting him go waivers. We all talk about the receiver all day, and the receivers all clear waivers. That's the funny part. But when it comes to Lunt, linebackers and offensive linemen get claimed. And Chase Lunt, being a draft choice with that film he just put out, would get claimed. He is one that absolutely would get claimed before everybody's favorite weapon. So Chase Lunt.
Yeah. Chase Lunt. Interesting. Well, I got to tell you what, guys. We need to give a giant shout out to one of our proud partners today, and that just happens to be Picasso's Pizza, the best pizza in Buffalo, New York. And let me tell you what, guys, if you are not located in the Western New York area, if you are and you haven't tried Picasso's, I have no idea what you're doing. But if you're located in New Mexico, South Dakota, Arizona, and you want a taste of home, Buffalo, maybe you have some family members that moved away from Western New York and are missing the sweet, saucy deliciousness that Picasso's Pizza provides. Highly recommend you go to their website, picassopizza.net, and hit that nationwide shipping button. They're delivering nationwide, all right? Right on your front doorstep, where you get to show all of your friends in your new local areas exactly what Buffalo Pizza is all about. Shout out to Picasso's Pizza for sponsoring this Bills Roundtable. Anyway, let's get back into the conversation briefly, because I know that we have a college football show starting here in about 6 minutes. Fun fact. What's the biggest thing we're looking for on Sunday, and joint practice as well? We just heard that Caleb Williams and the starters are going to be out there. Last preseason matchup against the Chicago Bears did not go too well in our favor, if you really look at preseason games like that. But what are you hoping to have answers to by the time this weekend is over with? I'm going to start off with Jake on this one.
For me, the thing that I'm looking for most here is the QB2 battle. Obviously, we have Mitch Trubisky going back into Chicago. It's not the sexy pick, but this was highlighted a lot in Hard Knocks. These two are going head-to-head for the competition, Mike White and Mitch Trubisky. Obviously, you have Shane Bichelle there, but I think he's the one on the outside looking in for that QB spot. So I'm looking to see how Mitch Trubisky and Mike White perform in this game and throughout the joint practices, because that QB2 spot, it's going to be up for grabs.
Z-Bot, biggest thing you're looking for?
Exploiting Caleb Williams. He has struggled. He struggled last year. That offensive line was terrible. They upgraded during the offseason here, but he has struggled severely in camp. I think there's a reason they didn't feature him last week. I'm not entirely sure why you wouldn't, because this is a brand new offense. He did not play well last year. I don't know why you wouldn't have him out there, and now they're going to. I think you have an opportunity to show some solid tape here against a guy who's going to probably go out there and give it 110%, trying to reinstill into the Bears faithful that he is going to be the future and expected to be exactly what he was drafted to be. And that is one of the top prospects we've seen come out of college at the position. really ever. So I think once again, like I keep mentioning, the defense is always going to have my primary focus in terms of watching them develop and watching them sort of take that leap to allow the Bills to continue to get better and inevitably get over that hump. I think they have an opportunity to do that this upcoming weekend against a guy who I think is going to be playing at full game speed, trying to get the media and the Browns faithful, or excuse me, the Bears faithful back on the side of having high expectations and really seeing as though they have the guy they were hoping was going to be the first 4,000 yard passer in the history of the Browns organization. So, or excuse me, I keep saying Browns, but Browns right now are pretty much in lockstep the way that they've been over the last several seasons. So defense once again against Caleb Williams and those starters, looking forward to seeing what they got.
So you're predicting what Kevin said about the Giants last week,
Which
that Ben
is
Johnson's going to be out there calling a regular season offense for at least the first quarter.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Kev, what do you got?
Can we
man?
just get a team that, like, let's just play some preseason football? Like,
yeah, we don't need to impress anybody.
The only benefit is, like, I mean, Ben Johnson's got time. It's not Dable, so I do think like he should have some resemblance of preseason, like not get anybody hurt. Come on, I just want to watch some preseason O-line, D-line, defense, corners, coverage. Like, we don't need to see screen passes. Like, save whatever. Like, come on. Like, we don't need stunts. We don't need exotic blitzes. Can we like watch some preseason football here, guys? But that's seriously what I'm looking for the most from this team. And Josh Allen not playing, he said himself he doesn't need it. The reps here in Chicago are going to be enough. So I'm glad the Bills have thought that that's more coordinated and that's more of a way to prevent him from getting hurt. It's almost calculated, I think, where the Bills pick to practice because now they can get Josh Allen reps and not have to play him in live drills. I just hope Chicago stays clean, man. Like, we have a lot riding on Friday in terms of like them not being stupid and some dude trying to make a team against our ones. Like, I hope an all-out brawl happens if someone even touches Josh, like an all-out brawl quit, like you just rage quit off the field. That's the only thing I'm thinking about in this whole thing is like, he needs the reps. We're going to give them to him. Like, literally don't need some dude trying to make a team on Chicago, trying to be a hero. That's what I got in my thoughts right now. But if you're talking about the actual preseason game itself, I just want to see a little bit more from the DBs. Like, I want to see some coverage happen because I think I'm pretty excited about the D-line, but I got to have the coverage on the back end. I don't know who's playing. I don't know if Cole Bishop's back already. I got to see some. Love to see the ones. I'd love to see the ones on defense. That's where I'm going to leave it. Like, I want to see the ones play and actually do something against Caleb Williams in an actual preseason game going in. Whereas Josh, I don't want anywhere near the field. I've made my opinion now. I don't want him in either of the 3 games.
So I'd like to see some wins on the defensive line against that new revamped Chicago Bears offensive line as well, because last year it was toward the bottom of the league, but now arguably they have one of the best interiors. I really think that this could be a measuring stick for us. Like last week against the Giants, I was kind of wishing a bit more, of course, from the defensive line, but now this actually presents a more unique challenge for us as well. So show me some trench work, baby. That's what I'm looking for. But all right,
be a fun weekend.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Bills Roundtable. We had I think 1.7 thousand views, I think, on replays last week, which is great. I can imagine a lot of you guys are tuning in on the replay. So I encourage that when you discover this video, you make sure not only you subscribe to the channel, but turn on bell notifications, because we want to make sure that this live chat is as popping as humanly possible. We want to engage with you guys as the season goes along. Of course, start welcoming in callers as well. If there's anything that is just brewing in your mind that you need to get off of your chest, we are here for you on Mondays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. EST. What do you guys got to say to the audience before we end up sending them off?
Thanks for the time, as always.
Thanks. Tune in, like, subscribe. We need it. Z-Bot's the most likable guy in the channel, apparently.
Come on.
He is the most likable guy.
Send some hate mail to my DM. Apparently, I'm the only one who's not getting it. So send it to me, please.
So Z-Bot needs some haters is what he's saying. All right, listen, we love you guys. Jake, we appreciate you, man. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Bills.